Success is not a hobby. Success is not something you try on weekends. Success is not a part-time commitment. Success demands everything you've got. Your focus, your discipline, your patience, your sweat, your tears, your sleepless nights, and your unbreakable faith in yourself when nobody else believes. You say you want success, but success is asking you a question every single day. How bad do you want me to demand? Not when it's easy, not when you feel motivated, not when people clap for you. Success asks you how bad you want it when you're tired, when you're doubted, when you're broke, when you're stressed, when you're alone, when you feel like quitting. Because anybody can chase a dream when it's exciting. Only the rare ones chase it when it's exhausting. See, success doesn't accept excuses. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care about your fears. It doesn't care how many times you failed yesterday. Success only responds to one thing: commitment. Commitment. The kind of commitment where you wake up with purpose and go to sleep with progress. The kind where discipline becomes stronger than your emotions. The kind where you don't negotiate with distractions because you already signed a contract with your destiny. You want success? Then understand this truth. Success is expensive, and the price is paid in effort, paid in sacrifice, paid in time, paid in growth, paid in becoming someone stronger than the person you were yesterday. Most people want the reward without the cost. But success is not on sale. There are no discounts. You either pay the full price or you don't get it at all. You can't give success half your energy and expect full results. You can't show up sometimes and expect victory every time. You can't work like everybody else and expect a life nobody else had. No, success demands everything. It demands that you push when you're tired, learn when you're confused, stand when you're knocked down, and fight when every voice in your head says quit. Let me tell you something. The moment you decide to give everything, your life changes. Not because success instantly appears, but because you transform. Your mindset sharpens, your standards rise, your excuses disappear. And suddenly the obstacles that used to stop you become the very things that build you. Greatness is not given, it's extracted. You pull it out of your struggle. You pull it out of your discipline. You pull it out of those mornings when you wake up before the world is saying today I'm going to become better than I was yesterday. That's when success starts chasing you, because it sees someone who finally understands his language: effort. So don't just wish for success. Don't just talk about success. Don't just post about success. Decide, commit, sacrifice, execute, repeat. And when the world asks why you're working so hard, tell them this: because success demands everything and I'm willing to give it. Success only answers those who show up daily with discipline. And that truth separates dreamers from achievers, talkers from doers, and wishers from winners. Every morning when your alarm rings, life is asking you a silent question: are you committed or are you comfortable? Because discipline is not a feeling, it's a decision. It's the choice to rise when your body begs for sleep, to focus when your mind begs for distraction, to continue when your emotions beg for rest. Most people wait to feel ready, but the ones who actually succeed understand that readiness. Submit. They show up before they feel ready, they work before they feel confident, and then before they feel fearless. That's why success listens to them. That's why doors open for them. That's why opportunities seem to chase them. It's not luck. It's discipline answering the call every single day. Daily discipline is powerful because it compounds. One focused hour today seems small. One extra effort tomorrow seems small. One more attempt the next day seems small. But stack those days together, and suddenly you built momentum. And momentum is a force most people underestimate. Momentum turns effort into habit, and habit into identity. At first, you're forcing yourself to work. Then you're choosing to work. Then you become the kind of person who works. And once you become that person, success recognizes you, because success doesn't respond to interest. It responds to identity. When discipline becomes who you are instead of something you try, that's when results start showing up without needing permission. Understand this clearly. Discipline is the bridge between goals and reality. Everybody has goals. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has plans. But not everybody crosses that bridge. Why? Because the bridge is built with routines, and routines are built with discipline. You cannot build a strong future on weak habits. You cannot expect extraordinary results from ordinary commitment. The world is filled with talented people who never succeed, not because they lack ability, but because they lack consistency. Talent can open a door, but only discipline keeps it open. Talent can impress people, but discipline earns respect. Talent can start a race, but discipline finishes it. There will be mornings when discipline feels heavy. There will be days when your motivation disappears. There will be moments when progress seems invisible. Those are the exact moments success is watching you the closest. Because anyone can work when it's exciting. Anyone can grind when results are immediate. Anyone can stay committed when praise is loud. But only the rare individual keeps showing up when nothing seems to be happening. Only the rare individual keeps pushing when nobody is clapping. Only the rare individual keeps going when the scoreboard still shows 0. That's the test. That's the filter. That's the invisible line that separates those who talk about greatness from those who become great. You have to understand that discipline is a form of self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, your confidence grows. When you follow through on your plans, your belief strengthens. When you prove to yourself that you can be trusted, your mind stops doubting and starts supporting you. But when you constantly break promises to yourself, when you delay, when you procrastinate, when you say tomorrow instead of a now, you slowly weaken your own foundation. Success cannot stand on a weak foundation. It needs structure, it needs consistency, it needs proof that you are serious. And the only proof it accepts is daily action. People often ask what the secret to success is. Hoping for a shortcut, hoping for an easy formula, hoping for something quick and painless. But the truth is simple and powerful. The secret is showing up again and again and again, especially when it's boring, especially when it's repetitive, especially when it feels like nothing is changing. Because repetition is not punishment, repetition is training. Every time you repeat a positive action, you strengthen a mental muscle. Every time you repeat a disciplined choice, you sharpen your focus. Every time you repeat effort, you increase your capacity. The process may look ordinary from the outside, but inside you are transforming. Discipline also teaches you mastery over yourself. And mastering yourself is the greatest victory you will ever win. It's easy to control circumstances when they go your way. It's easy to stay positive when everything is smooth. But discipline means you stay steady even when life is chaotic. It means you stay focused even when distractions scream your name. It means you stay committed even when doubt whispers in your ear. That kind of self-mastery makes you dangerous in the best way. Because once you control your habits, nothing external can control your destiny. There will always be people who wait for perfect timing. They say they'll stop when conditions improve, when resources increase, when support appears, when confidence grows. But perfect timing never comes. Conditions are never flawless. Resources are never unlimited. Confidence is never automatic. Discipline is what allows you to start anyway. Discipline is what lets you move forward in imperfect situations. Discipline is what turns ordinary days into stepping stones. And the truth is, success doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. The reason daily discipline is so powerful because it eliminates negotiation. When you're disciplined, you don't wake up and debate whether you should work. You don't argue with yourself about whether you should practice. You don't question whether you should improve. The decision is already made. And when decisions are made in advance, energy is saved. Instead of wasting time thinking about what you should do, you spend that time actually doing it. That's why disciplined people seem faster, sharper, and more effective. They're not necessarily smarter than everyone else. They're simply more decisive. And decisiveness comes from habits built on discipline. Another truth most people overlook is that discipline creates freedom. It may feel restrictive at first, like rules, like structure, like pressure, but over time, it gives you control. Financial freedom comes from disciplined spending and earning. Physical strength comes from disciplined training. Mental clarity comes from disciplined thinking. And skill mastery comes from disciplined practice. Freedom is not the absence of structure, it's the reward of structure. The people with the most freedom are usually the ones who were disciplined the longest when nobody was watching. You must also realize that discipline is strongest when it is quiet. It doesn't need attention. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need recognition. It works silently in the background, shaping your future piece by piece. Loud motivation can inspire you for a moment, but quiet discipline builds you for a lifetime. Motivation is like a spark. Discipline is like a steady flame. Sparks fade quickly. Flames endure. If you rely only on sparks, you'll keep starting and stopping. But if you build a flame, you'll keep moving forward no matter what. There will be setbacks. There will be failures. There will be days when your effort doesn't produce results. Discipline doesn't prevent those moments. It prepares you for them. Gives you the resilience to continue. It gives you the patience to trust the process. It gives you the strength to stand back up. Because success isn't looking for someone who never falls. Success is looking for someone who refuses to stay down. And refusal must form from discipline. Every single day is an opportunity to prove something to yourself. Not to the world, not to critics, not to spectators, to yourself. Every disciplined action is evidence that you are serious about your future. Every completed task is proof that you respect your goals. Every focused hour is a brick in the foundation of your legacy. These small proofs accumulate until one day you look back and realize you didn't just chase success. You built it. So if you truly want success to answer you, stop waiting for inspiration and start practicing discipline. Show up when it's hard. Show up when it's hard. Show up when it's boring. Show up when it's inconvenient. Show up when nobody expects you. Show up when nobody is watching. Because success is always watching, and it always responds to the same signal: consistency. When it sees you return day after day with effort in your hands and determination in your heart, it begins to move towards you. Slowly at first, quietly at first, but surely. And one day, what once felt impossible will feel inevitable. Not because you wish for it, not because you talked about it, not because you hoped for it, but because you proved, daily discipline, that you were ready for it. Half effort produces half lives, and most people don't even realize they're living one. They wake up with big dreams, but give small energy. They talk about greatness, but move with hesitation. They want extraordinary results, but cling to ordinary habits. And then they wonder why life feels average, why progress feels slow, why fulfillment feels distant. The truth is simple and powerful. The level of effort you give determines the level of life you live. If you invest halfway, you receive halfway. If you commit halfway, you grow halfway. You grow halfway. If you believe halfway, you achieve halfway. Life mirrors your input. It reflects your intensity. It responds to your willingness to give everything instead of just enough. Half effort feels safe. It feels comfortable. It feels manageable. It allows you to say you tried without ever risking your full potential. But that safety is an illusion. Because when you give half effort, you also receive half confidence, half growth, half results, and half satisfaction. You never truly know what you're capable of because you never truly push yourself to your limit. You stay in a space where you can always blame circumstances, timing, or luck. Half effort protects your ego, but it also imprisons your potential. It keeps you in a life that is tolerable instead of a life that's transformational. Full effort, on the other hand, is demanding. It requires sacrifice. It requires focus. It requires discipline when you're tired, courage when you're afraid, and persistence when you're discouraged. Full effort asks you to show up on days when motivation is gone. It asks you to continue when results are invisible. It asks you to stretch beyond convenience and step into discomfort. But in exchange, it gives you something priceless: freedom. Not just financial freedom, but mental freedom, emotional freedom, and personal freedom. The freedom of knowing you gave your best. The freedom of knowing you didn't hold back. The freedom of knowing you didn't settle. Freedom is often misunderstood. Many people think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But real freedom is deeper than that. Real freedom is having control over your direction. It's waking up with purpose instead of pressure. It's making choices based on vision instead of fear. And that kind of freedom is built, not wished for. It's built through full effort applied consistently over time. Every disciplined action is a brick. Every focused hour is cement. Every sacrifice is reinforcement. And slowly, day by day, you construct a life that is strong enough to support your dream. The reason most people never experience this level of freedom is not because they lack talent. It's not because they lack opportunity. It's not because they lack opportunity. They give effort when they feel inspired, but withdraw effort when they feel challenged. They push hard for a short time, but stop when progress slows. They start strong, but finish weak. And life rewards consistency, not bursts. It rewards endurance, not intensity alone. Anyone can sprint for a moment. Few can run the marathon, but it's the marathon that changes your life. When you decide to give full effort, something shifts inside you. Your mindset sharpens, your standards rise, your tolerance for excuses disappears. You stop negotiating with distractions because you understand the cost of lost focus. You stop delaying action because you understand the price of wasted time. You stop doubting yourself because your work ethic becomes evidence of your capability. Full effort builds belief, and belief builds momentum. Once momentum begins, progress accelerates. And once progress accelerates, possibilities expand. Half effort keeps you stuck in cycles. You start, you stop, you try, you pause, you move, you hesitate. It's like pressing the gas and brake at the same time. You burn energy but go nowhere. That's why half effort is exhausting without being rewarded. It drains you without developing you. It tires you without transforming you. But full effort channels you in one direction. It eliminates internal conflict. It aligns your actions with your intention. And when alignment happens, power is released. Think about any area of life where someone excels. Behind that excellence is always full effort, not occasional effort, not convenient effort, not comfortable effort, full effort. The kind that continues after mistakes, the kind that persists after criticism, the kind that improves after failure. Excellence is never accidental. It is always intentional. It is always built. And the blueprint is always the same. Commitment without retreat. There will be moments when full effort feels overwhelming. Moments when you question whether it's worth it. Moments when fatigue whispers that you should slow down. In those moments, remember this. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret is lasting. Temporary discomfort leads to permanent growth. Temporary struggle leads to permanent strength. Temporary sacrifice leads to permanent freedom. When you understand that trait, your perspective changes. Effort stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like an investment. Full effort also transforms your identity. At first, you're someone trying to succeed. Then you become someone working to succeed. Eventually, you become someone who simply succeeds because effort has become part of who you are. Identity is powerful because once you see yourself differently, you act differently. And once you act differently, results follow naturally. You don't chase success anymore. You embody the habits that create it. Half effort says, I'll try. Full effort says, I will. Half effort waits for the right move. Full effort creates the right routine. Half effort depends on external motivation. Full effort relies on internal discipline. The difference between those mindsets is the difference between stagnation and transformation. Trying leaves room for retreat. Deciding removes it. When you decide to give everything, quitting stops being an option. And when quitting disappears, progress becomes inevitable. You must also understand that full effort is not about perfection. It's about persistence. Doesn't mean you never make mistakes. It means you don't stop because of them. It doesn't mean every attempt succeeds. It means every attempt teaches. It doesn't mean the path is smooth. It means you keep walking even when it's rough. Perfection is fragile. Persistence powerful. And success always chooses power over fragility. Many people fear giving full effort because they're afraid of failing after trying their hard. They think holding back protects them. But holding back is the real failure because if you never give your all, you never give yourself a real chance. Full effort doesn't guarantee instant success, but it guarantees growth. And growth always leads somewhere better than staying the same. When you give everything, even your losses become lessons and even your setbacks become setups for comebacks. Freedom earned through full effort has a unique feeling. It's not loud, but it's deep. It's not flashy, but it's lasting. It's the calm confidence of knowing you can handle challenges. It's the quiet pride of knowing you stay consistent. It's the unshakable belief that you can rebuild, restart, and rise again if necessary. That kind of freedom can't be given by anyone else, and it can't be taken away by circumstances. It's built within you. Every day gives you a choice. You can give half effort and stay where you are, or you can give full effort and move toward who you're meant to become. That choice may seem small in a single moment, but repeated daily, it shapes your destiny. Lives are not changed in a single decision. They are changed in daily decisions. The difference between average and exceptional is not a single leap. It's 1,000 disciplined steps. So if you want more from life, give more to it. If you want bigger results, apply bigger effort. If you want freedom, stop bargaining with your potential and start investing in it completely. Because life does not reward hesitation. It rewards commitment. It does not reward doubt. It rewards action. And it does not reward half effort. It rewards those who step forward with everything they had and refuse to step back. When you finally reach the point where you give your full effort, you'll notice something remarkable. The obstacles that once looked massive start looking manageable. The fears that once felt overwhelming start feeling small. The goals that once seemed distant start coming closer. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Full effort transforms your perspective, and perspective transforms your reality. And one day you will look back at your journey and understand a powerful truth. The moment your life truly began to change was the moment you stopped giving half, and started giving all. That was the moment limits began to break. That was the moment confidence began to grow. That was the moment freedom began to form. Because half effort produces half lives, but full effort produces freedom. And freedom is always waiting on the other side of everything you're willing to give. The price of greatness is paid before the reward is seen. And that truth alone separates those who only admire success from those who actually achieve it. Most people want proof before they commit. They want evidence before effort. They want guarantees before sacrifice. But greatness doesn't work that way. Greatness requires faith first, work second, and results last. It demands that you invest your energy long before you see a return. It requires that you believe in a harvest while you're still planting seeds. And that process, the silent, unseen, often lonely process, is where champions are really made. Anyone can celebrate a victory once it's visible. Anyone can applaud success once it's obvious, but not everyone is willing to endure the invisible season. That season is where you wake up early and nobody notices. That season is where you practice and nobody applauds. That season is where you struggle and nobody understands. It's the phase where your effort feels like it's disappearing in the air with no proof it's working. Yet that is the exact phase where greatness is being built. Roots grow underground before trees rise above the surface. Strength develops internally before it shows externally. And mastery is formed in private long before it performs in public. People often misunderstand success because they only see the reward stage. They see the trophy, but not the training. They see the spotlight, but not the struggle. They see the results, but not the repetitions. What they don't realize is that every visible achievement is backed by thousands of invisible actions. Every moment of glory is supported by countless moments of discipline. The reward is simply the announcement. The real work happened long before anyone was watching. And if you want greatness, you must be willing to work in silence until your results make the noise. Paying the price early means choosing discipline over distraction. It means choosing growth over comfort. It means choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. These choices are rarely easy, and they're almost never popular. In fact, the path to greatness often looks boring from the outside. It looks repetitive. It looks uneventful. It looks slow. But that's because greatness is not built through excitement. It's built through consistency. Excitement can start a journey, but consistency is what finishes it. And consistency requires a willingness to pay now for something you cannot yet see. One of the hardest parts of this journey is trusting the process when there's no visible progress. Human nature wants proof. It wants signs. It wants reassurance. But greatness tests your patience by hiding the results while you're doing the work. It asks you to keep going when nothing seems to be happening. It challenges you to stay committed when the scoreboard still says 0. That's where most people stop. Not because they lack ability, but because they lack endurance. They interpret silence failure. They mistake delay for denial. They assume that because they don't see results yet, results aren't coming. But the truth is, results are often forming in ways you cannot measure. Think about the moments when growth feels slow. Those are usually the moments when growth is deepest. When you're learning a skill and struggling, your mind is adapting. When you're pushing through resistance, your character is strengthening. When you're facing obstacles, your resilience is expanding. None of that is immediately visible, but all of it is essential. The reward you eventually see is simply the reflection of all the unseen development that came before it. Nothing great appears instantly. Everything great is constructed gradually. Paying the price early also means accepting discomfort as part of the process. Discomfort is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're stretching. Muscles grow by being challenged. Minds grow by being tested. Confidence grows by being exercised. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you're making a deposit into your future. Every challenge you endure is like a payment toward the life you want. And the more payments you make, the closer you get to ownership of your dream. Many people quit during the payment stage because they focus only on what they're giving, not on what they're becoming. Count the hours they work, the sacrifices they make, the pleasures they postpone, and they start to feel like the cost is too high. But what they fail to see is that the cost is transforming them. Discipline is sharpening their focus. Effort is strengthening their will. Persistence is building their confidence. The price is not just something you pay, it's something that shapes you. By the time the reward arrives, you are no longer the same person who started. You are stronger, wiser, tougher, and more prepared to handle the success you once dreamed about. Greatness always demands preparation before presentation. Life will never hand you a reward you're not ready to sustain. If success arrived before you developed the discipline to manage it, it would disappear just quickly as it came. That's why the process takes time. That's why the work comes first. That's why the price must be paid in advance. The delay is not punishment, it's preparation. It's life's way of making sure you grow into the person capable of carrying what you're asking for. There will be moments when you feel like giving up because the reward seems too far away. In those moments, remember that distance does not mean impossibility. It simply means the journey is still in progress. Every step you take is bringing you closer, even if you can't yet see the destination. Progress is often invisible in the short term, but undeniable in the long term. What feels like stagnation today can become transformation tomorrow if you keep moving forward. Patience is one of the highest forms of strength on this path. Anyone can work hard for a day. Anyone can stay focused for a week. Anyone can stay motivated for a month. But greatness belongs to those who can persist for years. It belongs to those who can continue long after excitement fades. It belongs to those who can stay committed even when results are delayed. Patience turns effort into mastery because it gives your work time to compound. And compounded effort is unstoppable. Another truth about paying the price early is that it builds unshakable confidence. When you know how much work you put in, doubt loses its voice. When you remember how many times you practice, fear loses its grip. When you think about how many obstacles you overcome, challenges lose their intimidation. Preparation creates certainty. Effort creates belief, and belief creates power. By the time your reward appears, you won't just be hoping you can handle it. You'll know you can. It's important to understand that the reward is not just the outcome you achieve. The reward is also the person you become. Yes, the success matters. Yes, the accomplishment is meaningful. Yes, the goal is worth reaching. But the greatest prize is the transformation you undergo along the way. Because once you become disciplined, focused, resilient, and determined, those qualities stay with you. They don't disappear after one victory. They become part of your identity. And with that identity, you can create success again and again. The world may not notice your effort while you're paying the price. People may overlook your dedication. They may underestimate your progress. They may even doubt your potential. But none of that determines your outcome. Recognition is not required for growth. Applause is not required for progress. Validation is not required for success. The only thing required is that you keep paying the price. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Because whether anyone sees it or not, every effort is building something. There is a powerful moment that comes after long perseverance. It's the moment when the reward finally shows itself. To others, it looks sudden. To others, it looks easy. To others, it looks like luck. But you know the truth. You know the early mornings, the late nights, the repeated failure, the silent sacrifices, the disciplined routines, and the unwavering belief that carried you there. You know the reward didn't appear out of nowhere. It appeared because you paid for it long before it arrived. And when that moment comes, it brings a satisfaction that shortcuts can never give. Because you didn't just receive success, you earned it. You didn't just reach the top, you climbed it. You didn't just arrive, you grew. That kind of victory feels different. It feels deeper. It feels permanent. because it's rooted in effort, and anything rooted in effort stands strong. So if you're in a season where you're working hard but seeing little reward, don't be discouraged. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're paying. It means you're investing. It means you're building. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep showing up, because greatness is watching, and greatness always honors those who are willing to pay its price in advance. One day the results will appear. One day the progress will be visible. One day the reward will stand in front of you as proof that your effort mattered. And when that day comes, you'll understand something most people never learn. The reward was never late. It arrived exactly when you were ready for it. Motivation starts you, but commitment finishes you. And understanding that difference can completely change the direction of your life. Motivation is exciting. It's emotional. It's powerful in the beginning. It makes you feel unstoppable for a moment. It lights a fire inside you and convinces you that anything is possible. But motivation is also temporary. It comes and goes. It rises when things feel new and fades when things become difficult. Commitment, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't rely on emotion. It doesn't depend on mood. It doesn't need excitement. Commitment is what keeps you moving forward long after motivation disappears. Most people begin their journey on motivation. They feel inspired by a speech, a moment ago, or a vision. They start strong. They promise themselves change. They imagine a better future. And for a short time, they feel powerful, but then reality shows up. The work gets hard. Progress slows down. Doubt creeps in. Comfort starts calling. That's the moment motivation leaves the room. And when motivation leaves, only commitment can keep you going. That's why so many people start but never finish. They confuse motivation with dedication. They assume feeling inspired is enough, but inspiration is just the spark. Commitment is the fuel. Commitment means you show up even when you don't feel like it. It means you do the work when nobody is watching. It means you keep your promises to yourself even when it would be easier to break them. Commitment doesn't ask how you feel today. It asks what you decided yesterday. It is loyalty to your goals, not your emotions. Emotions change. Decisions don't. And the people who finish what they start are the people who we rely on decisions, not feelings. There will be days when you feel tired. Days when you feel unmotivated. Days when you question what is worth it. Days when progress feels invisible. Those days are not signs to stop. They are signs to lean deeper into commitment. Commitment. Because commitment is strongest when motivation is weakest. Anyone can work when they feel inspired. Few can work when they feel drained. But success is built on the days when you keep going despite how you feel. Commitment creates consistency, and consistency creates results. You don't get better by doing something once or twice. You get better by doing it repeatedly. Skills are built through repetition. Strength is built through resistance. Confidence is built through action. And action is sustained through commitment. Motivation might push you to act today, but only commitment will bring you back tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Over time, those days add up, and eventually, what once felt impossible becomes normal. One of the most powerful things about commitment is that it removes negotiation. When you are committed, you don't wake up debating whether to work or rest, whether to try or quit, whether to improve or stay the same. The decision is already made. You've already chosen your path. And when choices are made in advance, energy is saved. Instead of wasting time arguing with yourself, you use that time to move forward. That's why committed people seem disciplined. They're not necessarily stronger than others. They've simply eliminated the option to quit. Motivation is reactive. It reacts to external things. Words, music, success, praise. Commitment is proactive. It acts regardless of circumstances. Motivation needs conditions to be right. Commitment creates progress even when conditions are wrong. That's why commitment is more reliable. You cannot build a future on something that disappears when life gets hard. You build a future on something that stays when life gets difficult. Many people wait to feel motivated before they act. But commitment flips that formula. Commitment says you act first and motivation may follow. Often motivation comes after action, not before it. Once you start working, momentum builds. Once momentum builds, energy increases. Once energy increases, belief grows. Waiting to feel motivated keeps you stuck. Acting out of commitment keeps you moving. And movement creates motivation, not the other way around. Commitment also changes how you see obstacles. When you're only motivated, obstacles feel like reasons to stop. When you're committed, obstacles feel like problems to solve. Commitment shifts your mindset from avoidance to responsibility. Instead of asking, why does this happen to me? You start asking, how can I move forward anyway? That shift is powerful because life will always present challenges. There is no path without resistance. The only difference is whether resistance stops you or strengthens you. There will be moments when motivation returns, moments when progress becomes visible, moments when others notice your growth. Those moments feel great, but they are bonuses, not foundations. The foundation is built on commitment during the quiet times, the times when no one applauds, the times when results are small, the times when effort feels repetitive. Those are the moments that shape your character. Those are the moments that determine whether you finish strong or fade away. Commitment also builds trust with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-respect grows. Every time you follow through, your confidence increases. You stop doubting your ability to handle hard things because you've proven to yourself that you can. That internal trust is powerful. It becomes a source of strength that doesn't depend on external validation. When you trust yourself, fear loses power, doubt loses influence, and excuses lose credibility. Many people underestimate how long success takes. They expect quick results. They expect fast change. When that doesn't happen, motivation fades. Commitment understands that meaningful progress takes time. It understands that growth is gradual. It understands that setbacks are part of the process. Instead of being discouraged by delays, commitment stays patient. It keeps working while time does its job, and time combined with effort always produces results. Commitment is also what turns goals into habits. At first, effort feels forced. You have to remind yourself. You have to push yourself. But over time, committed actions become automatic. What once required discipline becomes routine. What once felt hard becomes familiar. And once something becomes a habit, it no longer depends on motivation at all. It becomes part of who you are. That's when progress accelerates, because habits work even when you're tired. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they need to feel ready before committing. Readiness is a myth. You become ready by committing. You become confident by acting. You become strong by struggling. Commitment is what turns potential into reality. Without it, potential stays trapped in imagination. With it, potential turns into progress. Commitment does not mean you never rest. It does not mean you never adjust. It does not mean you never fail. It means you don't quit. It means you don't abandon your goals when things get uncomfortable. It means you stay connected to your purpose even when your pace slows down. Rest can be part of commitment. Adjustment can be part of commitment. What cannot be part of commitment is surrender. The finish line is reached by those who keep showing up. Not the most talented, not the most motivated, the most committed. The most committed, the ones who refuse to stop, the ones who refuse to give up on themselves, the ones who keep going even when nobody believes in them. Those are the people who finish. And finishing changes everything, because finishing proves something to you that nothing else can. That you are capable more than you once believed. When you look back on your journey, you won't remember every moment of motivation, but you will remember the moments of commitment, the days you showed up tired, the nights you kept working, the times you wanted to quit but did. Those moments define your story. Those moments are the reason you reach the end. So let motivation start you. Let it inspire you. Let it inspire you. But don't depend on it. Depend on commitment. Build your life on decisions, not feelings, on discipline, not desire, on consistency, not convenience. Because motivation may open the door, but commitment is the only thing that will carry you all the way through it. And when you finally reach your goal, when you finally stand on the other side of the struggle, you'll understand this truth deeply. It wasn't the days you felt inspired that changed your life. It was the days you stayed committed when inspiration was gone. Comfort and success cannot live in the same house because one survives on ease while the other survives on effort. And the moment you choose one, you quietly distance yourself from the other. Comfort is seductive. It whispers that you've done enough, that you deserve a break, that you can start tomorrow, that you can slow down, that there's no urgency. It speaks in a calm voice that sounds reasonable, logical, even kind. But what it never tells you is that every extra minute spent in comfort is a minute stolen from your potential. Comfort doesn't destroy your dreams in one dramatic moment. It dissolves them slowly, softly, and visibly until one day you look around and realize you're standing exactly where you were years ago, wondering why nothing changed. Success, on the other hand, speaks a different language. It doesn't whisper. It demands. It calls you to wake up early when your body begs for sleep. It pushes you to continue when your mind begs for rest. It challenges you to grow when every instinct tells you to stay safe. Success does not care about convenience. It cares about commitment. And commitment requires discomfort. It requires stretching beyond what feels easy. It requires stepping beyond what feels familiar. It requires leaving the warm, predictable space of comfort and walking into the uncertain, demanding space of growth. The reason comfort and success cannot live together is because they want opposite things from you. Comfort wants you relaxed. Success wants you relentless. Comfort wants you satisfied. Success wants you striving. Comfort wants you safe. Success wants you strong. These desires cannot coexist at the same intensity. The more you feed comfort, the more you starve success. The more you feed success, the more you weaken comfort. Every day through your choices, you decide which one you are feeding. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail. They become too comfortable. They become comfortable with average effort, comfortable with average results, comfortable with routines that don't challenge them, comfortable with habits that don't grow them. Comfort convinces them that average is acceptable, that settling is sensible, that pushing harder is unnecessary. And slowly, their standards drop, their hunger fades, their discipline weakens. Not because they intended to give up, but because they allowed comfort to take control. Growth never happens inside comfort. Growth begins the moment comfort ends. Think about every area of your life where you improved. You improved because something challenged you. You improved because something pushed you. You improved because something forced you to adapt. Challenge is the gym where strength is built. Pressure is the classroom where resilience is taught. Difficulty is the training ground where confidence is earned. Without discomfort, none of those qualities develop. Without resistance, there's no progress. Comfort tries to convince you that discomfort is a sign you're on the wrong path. Success teaches you that discomfort is proof you're on the right one. When something feels hard, comfort says stop. Success says continue. When something feels unfamiliar, comfort says retreat. Success says explore. When something feels demanding, comfort says avoid. Success says engage. The voice you listen to determines the direction you travel, and direction determines destination. There is a moment in every journey when you must choose between what feels good now and what will be good later. That moment decides everything, because success is built on delayed gratification. It is built on choosing discipline today so you can experience freedom tomorrow. It is built on choosing effort now so you can experience ease later. Comfort reverses that order. It offers ease now, but creates struggle later. It gives you temporary relief, but long-term limitation. It feels pleasant in the moment, but costly over time. The danger of comfort is that it rarely looks dangerous. It looks harmless. It looks deserved. It looks like relaxation, like a small break. And sometimes rest is necessary. Sometimes recovery is wise. But comfort becomes dangerous when it becomes permanent. Rest is meant to recharge you for the journey, not replace the journey. When rest turns into avoidance, when relaxation turns into procrastination, when breaks turn into delays, comfort stops being helpful and starts being harmful. Success requires a different relationship with discomfort. Instead of fearing it, you learn to use it. Instead of avoiding it, you lean into it. Instead of resisting it, you accept it as part of the process. You begin to understand that discomfort is not your enemy. It is your trainer. It is shaping you, sharpening you, strengthening you. Every time you push through discomfort, you expand your limits. Every time you endure difficulty, you increase your capacity. Every time you continue despite resistance, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. Comfort keeps your world small. Success forces your world to grow. Comfort keeps you in familiar routines. Success pushes you into new challenges. Comfort keeps you predictable. Success makes you adaptable, and adaptability is power because life is always changing. Those who cling to comfort struggle when circumstances shift. Those who embrace challenge adjust and rise. The ability to function outside your comfort zone is one of the greatest advantages you can ever develop. There will be days when comfort feels especially attractive. Days when you're tired. Days when progress is slow. Days when motivation is low. Those are the days that matter most because anyone can work when they feel strong. Anyone can push when they feel energized. Anyone can stay focused when they feel inspired. But the people who achieve success are the ones who act even when they don't feel like it. They don't let comfort make their decisions. They let their goals make their decisions. Choosing success over comfort is not a one-time decision. It's a daily decision. Every morning you choose whether to rise or snooze. Every afternoon you choose whether to focus or drift. Every evening you choose whether to prepare or postpone. These choices may seem small in the moment, but repeated over time, they shape your life. A comfortable choice repeated daily leads to a stagnant life. A challenging choice repeated daily leads to a successful life. One of the greatest realizations you can have is that discomfort is temporary, but growth is permanent. The strain of effort fades. The fatigue of discipline passes. The difficulty of practice ends. But the strength you gain, the skill you build, the confidence you develop, those stay. When you remember that truth, discomfort stops feeling like something to avoid and starts feeling like something to value. It becomes evidence that you are progressing. Success also changes your tolerance for comfort. As you grow stronger, what once felt hard starts to feel normal. What once felt uncomfortable starts to feel routine. Your standards rise, your capacity expands, and suddenly you realize that the things you once avoided are now the things that build you. That's when transformation becomes visible, not just in your results, but in your mindset. You stop asking, is this easy? And start asking, is this worth it? Comfort asks for convenience. Success asks for courage. Comfort asks for the familiar. Success asks for the unknown. Comfort asks for permission to relax. Success asks for permission to rise. And life always gives you the answer to whichever question you keep asking. If you keep asking for ease, life will give you ease and little else. If you keep asking for growth, life will give you challenges that lead to greatness. You don't have to eliminate comfort completely to succeed, but you must refuse to let it control you. Comfort should be a tool, not a master. Something you visit, not somewhere you live. Because the moment comfort becomes your permanent address, progress becomes a stranger. Success visits those who are willing to step outside, to move, to strive, to stretch. It avoids those who remain seated in safety. At some point, you must decide what you truly want. If you want comfort, you can have it. It's always available. It's always inviting. It's always ready to keep you exactly where you are. But if you want success, you must be willing to walk away from comfort repeatedly. You must be willing to choose effort over ease, discipline over distraction, growth over familiarity, challenge over convenience. That choice will not always feel good, but it will always move you forward. And one day when you look back, you will see clearly how powerful that decision was. You will see that every time you chose challenge, you grew. Every time you chose effort, you advanced. Every time you chose discipline, you improved. You will realize that success didn't arrive by accident. It arrived because you refused to let comfort decide your future. In the end, comfort and success will never share the same space for long. One will always replace the other. The question is not whether they can live together. The question is which one you will invite to stay. The grind reveals who you really are, not who you pretend to be when things are easy, not who you claim to be when people are watching, but who you actually are when effort is required, when pressure rises. When pressure rises, when fatigue sets in, and when excuses start whispering your name. Anybody can look confident when the path is smooth. Anybody can sound determined when the task is simple. Anybody can appear strong when there's no resistance. But the grind, the long, repetitive, demanding process of working towards something meaningful, strips away illusion. It removes pretense. It exposes truth, and the truth it reveals is your real character. When life is comfortable, you can hide your weaknesses. You can postpone discipline. You can delay action. You can convince yourself that you'll step up when the moment demands it. But the grind is that moment. It's the daily test that asks whether your actions match your ambition. It's the mirror that reflects your habits, your mindset, and your standard. You cannot lie to the grind. You cannot trick it. You cannot negotiate with it. You either show up and do the work or you don't. And in that simple choice, your true self is revealed. The grind is not glamorous. It's not exciting most of the time. It's repetitive, slow, and often unnoticed. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It's practicing when you'd rather relax. It's focusing when you'd rather scroll. It's continuing when you'd rather stop. These moments seem small, but they are powerful because they expose your priorities. What you choose in those quiet moments says more about you than anything you say out loud. Words can be impressive, but habits are honest. Habits tell the truth about what you value and who you are becoming. At the beginning of any journey, enthusiasm can carry you. You feel energized, you feel inspired, you feel ready. But enthusiasm fades, energy fluctuates, inspiration disappears. The grind begins when those feelings leave. That's when your real identity steps forward. Because when motivation is gone, only discipline remains. When excitement fades, only commitment continues. And when things get hard, only character keeps moving. The grind is the place where potential is tested and proven. Many people believe they know themselves. They think they're determined, focused, and resilient. But beliefs about yourself are only theories until they're tested. The grind is the test. It asks you to prove your claims through action. It asks you to demonstrate your dedication through consistency. It challenges you to back up your confidence with effort. And sometimes what it reveals surprises you. Sometimes it shows you that you're stronger than you thought. Sometimes it shows you that you've been holding back. Either way, it gives you clarity. And clarity is powerful because it tells you exactly what needs to grow. The grind reveals your patience. When results are slow, do you keep going or do you quit? When progress is invisible, do you trust the process or do you doubt it? When improvement takes time, do you stay steady or do you look for shortcuts? Patience is not something you claim, it's something you demonstrate. And nothing tests patience like sustained effort without immediate reward. If you can stay committed during that phase, you prove that your desire is real. If you can't, you learn that your desire was only temporary. It also reveals your discipline. Discipline is easy to talk about, but difficult to practice. It means doing what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. It means following through on your plans even when distractions appear. It means choosing long-term progress over short-term comfort. The grind puts discipline under a spotlight. It shows whether you truly control your actions or whether your moods control you. Because when you're tired, stressed, or discouraged, discipline is what determines your response. The grind reveals your mindset as well. When you face obstacles, do you see them as barriers or as lessons? When you make mistakes, do you see them as failures or as feedback? When you encounter resistance, do you retreat or adapt? Your answers to those questions define your growth. A strong mindset turns challenges into opportunities. A weak mindset turns challenge into excuses. And the grind constantly presents challenges, giving you countless chances to strengthen the way you think. There is something powerful about repeated effort. Every day you return to the work, you send yourself a message. I am serious. I am committed. I am not quitting. That message builds confidence, not loud confidence based on hype, but quiet confidence based on proof. You begin to trust yourself because you see your own consistency. You stop relying on motivation because you see your own discipline. You stop fearing difficulty because you see your own resilience. The grind doesn't just reveal who you are, it shapes who you become. Some days the grind will feel heavy. You'll feel slow. You'll feel tired. You'll feel tempted to pause. Those are the days that matter most. Because anyone can work when they feel strong. Anyone can push when they feel energized. Anyone can stay focused when they feel inspired. But the person you truly are is defined on the days when you don't feel like doing anything and you still choose to act. Those days are the foundation of greatness. Those days are where identity is forged. The grind also reveals how badly you want something. Desire sounds powerful when spoken, but its real strength is measured by sacrifice. What are you willing to give up for your goal? Time, comfort, entertainment, convenience. The grind asks for these things regularly. It demands that you trade what is easy for what is meaningful. And your willingness to make that trade reveals the depth of your commitment. If your desire is shallow, you'll stop when it becomes inconvenient. If your desire is deep, you'll continue, even when it becomes difficult. Another truth about the grind is that it removes comparison. When you're truly focused on your work, you don't have time to measure yourself against others. You're too busy improving, too busy learning, too busy progressing. Grind pulls your attention inward and forces you to compete with your previous self instead of someone else. That's where real growth happens. Because the most important competition you will ever face is not against another person. It's against another that you once believed you had. The grind reveals integrity. It shows whether you do the right thing when nobody is watching. It shows whether you stay consistent when there's no applause. It shows whether you maintain effort when recognition is absent. Integrity is not built in public moments. It's built in private ones. And the grind is full of private moments, quiet hours, solitary practice, unnoticed effort. In those moments, you either stay true to your goals or you drift away from them. And that choice defines you. Over time, something remarkable happens. The person who once struggled to stay consistent becomes someone who shows up automatically. The person who once feared difficulty becomes someone who welcomes challenge. The person who once doubted themselves becomes someone who trusts their ability. This transformation doesn't happen suddenly. It happens gradually through repeated exposure to grind. Each day adds a layer of strength. Each effort adds a layer of confidence. Each obstacle overcome adds a layer of belief. The grind is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It teaches resilience by giving you resistance. It teaches focus by giving you distractions to overcome. It teaches persistence by giving you reasons to quit. Every lesson it offers is designed to strengthen you. And the more lessons you accept, the more powerful you become. People often wish for success, but they overlook the classroom where success is taught. That classroom is the grind. There will be times when you question whether it's worth it. Times when progress feels too slow. Times when the effort feels endless. In those moments, remember that the grind is not punishment. It is preparation. It is preparing you for the level you want to reach. It is building the strength you'll need to handle success. It is developing the discipline required to sustain achievement. Without that preparation, success would overwhelm you. With it, success becomes manageable. The grind also builds pride. Not arrogance, but pride rooted in effort. The quiet satisfaction of knowing you didn't quit. The steady confidence of knowing you kept going. The deep fulfillment of knowing you gave your best. That feeling cannot be bought, borrowed, or gifted. It must be earned. It's earned through the hours of work that no one else sees. That kind of pride stays with you because it is built on truth. Eventually, the results start to appear. Slowly at first, then more clearly. Skills sharpen, strength increases. Progress becomes visible. To others, it may look sudden. They may think you got lucky. They may think it happened overnight, but you know the reality. You know the early mornings, the late nights, the repeated efforts, and the disciplined days that led to that moment. You know the grind created it, and when you reach that point, you realize something powerful. The greatest reward was not the achievement itself. The greatest reward was discovering who you became in the process. You became stronger than you thought, more disciplined than you believed, more resilient than you imagined. The grind revealed that person to you. It showed you a version of yourself you might never have met otherwise. So if you are in the middle of the grind right now, don't resist it. Embrace it. Don't fear it. Learn from it. Don't avoid it. Lean into it, because the grind is not there to break you. It is there to show you your strength, to show you your limits, to show you your potential. And most importantly, to show you who you really are. Excuses are the language of people who fear their potential, and most don't even realize they're speaking it. They think they're explaining their situation, justifying their delay, or defending their choices. But what they're really doing is protecting themselves from the responsibility of becoming who they're capable of being. An excuse is not just a sentence. It's a shield. It's a wall. It's a hiding place. It allows a person to stay where they are while convincing themselves they have a valid reason not to move forward. And the dangerous thing about excuses is that they often sound reasonable. They sound logical. They sound believable. But behind every excuse is a quiet truth. Fear. Fear of failure, judgment, fear of discomfort, fear of effort change, fear of discovering that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. Because once you discover that, you can no longer hide from your own responsibility. Potential is powerful, but it's also intimidating because potential demands action. It demands growth. It demands courage. And excuses become the escape route for anyone who wants to dream without the demand. Excuses are comfortable because they remove pressure. The moment you say, I can't because you feel relief. Relief from expectation. Relief from effort. Relief from risk. But that relief is temporary and it comes with a cost. Every excuse you accept is a brick added to a wall between you and your future. At first, that wall is small, easy to ignore. But with time, with repetition, with habit, it grows taller and thicker until one day you can't see your goals anymore. Not because they disappear, but because your excuses blocked your view. People often believe excuses protect them from failure, but the truth is they guarantee it. When you excuse yourself from action, you excuse yourself from progress. When you excuse yourself from effort, you excuse yourself from growth. When you excuse yourself from discipline, you excuse yourself from results. Excuses don't make life easier. They make potential smaller. They shrink what you could become down to what feels safe right now. The reason excuses are so tempting is because they shift responsibility away from you. Instead of saying, I didn't try hard enough, you can say, I didn't have enough time. Instead of saying, I gave up, you can say, the situation wasn't right. Instead of saying, I was afraid, you can say, it just wasn't meant to be. Excuses allow you to rewrite reality in a way that protects your pride. But growth never comes from protecting your pride. Growth comes from confronting your truth. There is something powerful that happens when you stop making excuses. The moment you remove them, you reclaim control. Suddenly, your progress is no longer determined by circumstances, but by choices. You stop waiting for conditions to change and start changing your actions. You stop blaming and start building. You stop explaining and start executing. And that shift, that internal shift from excuse to ownership, is the moment your life begins to transform. Excuses often disguise themselves as reason. They sound intelligent. They sound thoughtful. They sound practical. But there's a difference between a real reason and an excuse. A real reason explains a problem while still seeking a solution. An excuse explains a problem and uses it as permission to stop. One moves you forward, the other keeps you stuck. Learning to recognize that difference is one of the most important skills you can develop because your future depends on it. Every time you choose action instead of an excuse, you strengthen your courage. Every time you choose discipline instead of delay, you strengthen your character. Every time you choose responsibility instead of blame, you strengthen your confidence. Strength is not built in giant moments of victory. It's built in small moments of decision. The decision to try again, the decision to continue, the decision to show up. These decisions may seem minor, but repeated daily, they create a mindset that refuses to be limited. Excuses thrive in comfort. They grow in environments where you allow yourself to settle. They multiply when you compare yourself to people who aren't pushing either. But they weaken the moment you surround yourself with a higher standard. When you see what's possible, excuses lose their power. When you witness discipline, excuses sound hollow. When you experience progress, excuses feel like lies. Exposure to growth challenges your justifications and forces you to confront your potential. Potential is a strange thing. It excites you at the same time. It shows you a vision of what you could become, but it also shows you the work required to get there. That work can feel intimidating. It can feel overwhelming. Instead of admitting that you're afraid, it's easier to say you're busy or tired or waiting for the right moment, but the right moment rarely announces itself. It usually arrives disguised as an ordinary day, asking a simple question: will you act or will you excuse? One of the greatest turning points in a person's life is the day they become tired of their own excuses. The day they hear themselves speak and realize they've been repeating the same reasons for months or years. The day they recognize that nothing outside is truly stopping them. That realization can be uncomfortable because it removes every place to hide. But it's also empowering because it reveals that the power to change has been in your hands all along. Excuses also shape identity. If you constantly tell yourself why you can't, eventually you start believing you won't. Your mind listens to the words you repeat. If those words are limitations, your confidence shrinks. If those words are ownership, your confidence grows. The language you use with yourself becomes the blueprint for your belief system. That's why eliminating excuses is not just about changing behavior, it's about changing identity. It's about becoming someone who takes responsibility instead of avoiding it. The truth is, everyone faces obstacles. Everyone encounters difficulty. Everyone experiences moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. The difference is not in the challenges people face. The difference is in how they respond. Some people use obstacles as reasons to stop. Others use them as reasons to rise. The obstacle is the same. The outcome is different, and that outcome is determined by whether you speak the language of excuses or the language of effort. When you refuse to make excuses, you develop resilience. You learn to adapt instead of retreat. You learn to persist instead of pause. You learn to find solutions instead of listing problems. That mindset makes you powerful because life will always contain uncertainty. It will always contain difficulty. It will always contain unexpected turns. But when you stop relying on excuses, you stop being fragile. You become flexible. You become resourceful. You become determined. There will still be moments when excuses try to return. They will whisper that you deserve a break, that you've done enough. It's okay to wait. And sometimes rest is necessary. Sometimes pauses are wise, but there's a difference between rest and avoidance. Rest prepares you to continue. Avoidance prevents you from starting. Learning to recognize that difference keeps you honest with yourself. And honesty with yourself is one of the strongest forms of discipline you can have. Imagine what your life would look like if you remove every excuse you've been holding on to. Imagine the time you would gain, the energy you would free, the opportunities you would see. Imagine the confidence you would feel knowing that your progress depends on your effort, not your circumstances. That vision is not unrealistic. It is possible. But it requires courage. The courage to admit when you're hiding, the courage to try when you're unsure, and the courage to continue when it's hard. Excuses promise comfort, but they deliver stagnation. Effort demands courage, but it delivers growth. One keeps you safe, the other makes you strong. And strength is what allows you to handle bigger challenges, pursue bigger goals, and achieve bigger victories. Strength is what turns potential into reality. You don't overcome excuses by waiting for motivation. You overcome them by deciding that your future matters more than your fear. You overcome them by taking action even when you feel uncertain. You overcome them by proving to yourself, step by step, that you are capable. Each action weakens the voice of excuse and strengthens the voice of belief. Over time, belief becomes louder. Excuses become quieter, and eventually they disappear. When that happens, something remarkable changes inside you. You stop seeing obstacles as barriers and start seeing them as tests. You stop asking why something is difficult and start asking how you can improve. You stop looking for reasons you can't and start finding ways you can. That shift is the beginning of real growth because it means you're no longer running from your potential. You're stepping toward it. One day you will look back and realize that the biggest thing that ever held you back was never lack of talent, lack of opportunity, or lack of support. It was the excuses you believed. And the moment you stopped believing them was the moment your life started moving forward. Excuses are the language of people who fear their potential, but courage is the language of those who claim it. The question is not whether you have potential. You do. The real question is which language you would choose to speak from this day forward. Your habits are voting every single day for the future you're going to live in. Before the applause ever comes, before the promotion letter ever arrives, before the scoreboard ever shows your name on top, your habits have already decided what's coming. People think results create success, but I'm telling you right now, results only reveal what your habits have already built. The world celebrates the moment, but destiny is written in the routine. What you do when nobody is clapping, when nobody's watching, when nobody is posting about you, that is the real architect of your future. You don't wake up successful one morning by accident. You wake up successful because your habits have been whispering victory into your life for months, for years, sometimes for decades. Most people are addicted to outcomes, but champions are addicted to process. Average minds say, I work hard when I see results. Great minds say, I'll work hard until results have no choice but to show up. And that difference right there is a separation line between those who wish and those who win. Your habits are like seeds planted underground. Nobody sees them. Nobody praises them. Nobody reposts them. But under that soil, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming. Strength is building. And one day that seed breaks through the surface, and people call it overnight success. They didn't see the early mornings, they didn't see the discipline, they didn't see the sacrifices, but the harvest didn't start when the plan appeared. The harvest started when the seed was planted. You say you want a different life, but you keep repeating the same habits. Listen carefully. You cannot repeat the same routine and expect a different reality. Your future is not controlled by your wishes. It's controlled by your rituals. If you wake up late every day, procrastinate every day, doubt yourself every day, and quit every time things get hard, your future has already been decided. And it wasn't decided by luck. It was decided by habit. On the other hand, if you wake up disciplined, move with purpose, feed your mind with knowledge, train your body with effort, and guard your focus like it's gold, then your future has also already been decided. The scoreboard just hasn't caught up yet. See, habits are silent, but they are powerful. They don't shout. They don't brag. They don't trend. They just work. A bad habit will work against you quietly until one day your life reflects it loudly. A good habit will work for you quietly until one day your life reflects it loudly. Either way, the reflection is coming. That's why discipline is not punishment. Discipline is prophecy. It is you telling your future, get ready, I'm on my way. Every time you choose consistency over comfort, you're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. Every time you choose growth over excuses, you're signing a contract with your destiny. And every time you repeat a positive action, you're carving a pathway that your future self will walk on with confidence. People ask, how do I know if I'm going to succeed? Look at your habits. That's your answer. Not your dreams, not your words, not your intentions, your habits. Because intentions don't change lives, repetition does. Anybody can be motivated for a day. Anybody can be inspired for a week. But transformation belongs to those who stay committed long after the feeling fades. Motivation is emotional. Habits are structural, and emotions come and go, but structure damn. When you build strong habits, you don't need to feel ready. You already are ready. You don't need to feel confident. You already have proof. You don't need to hope. You already have momentum. Let me tell you something powerful. Your habits are watching you. They're learning from you. Every time you break a promise to yourself, they learn that quitting is acceptable. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, they learn that excellence is the standard. So the question isn't whether habits matter. The question is, what are your habits learning from you right now? Are they learning consistency or excuses? Are they learning persistence or procrastination? Because whatever they learn, they will repeat. And whatever they repeat, they will multiply. And whatever they multiply will eventually become your reality. You don't rise to the levels of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Goals are vision. Habits are execution. Vision without execution is hallucination. That dream life you talk about, that future you imagine, that legacy you want to leave, is not waiting for a miracle. It's waiting for a routine. The universe doesn't reward desire. Man, it rewards discipline. And discipline isn't building one heroic moment. It's building 1,000 small decisions that nobody applauds. It's built when you choose water over soda, learning over scrolling, practice over sleep, effort over excuses. Those decisions feel small in the moment, but they are massive in accumulation. The danger is that habits don't feel powerful when you're doing them. They feel ordinary. They feel repetitive. They feel boring. But that's the secret. Success is hidden inside boring consistency. The reason most people quit is because they're addicted to excitement. They want fireworks, but greatness is built with bricks. One brick today, one brick tomorrow, one brick the next day. And eventually you look up and realize you didn't just stack bricks. You built a fortress. The world sees the fortress. You remember the bricks. Your future self is begging you right now. Don't wait. Don't delay. Don't negotiate with distraction. Because time doesn't care about your intention. Time only multiplies what you consistently do. If you waste it, it multiplies regret. If you invest it, it multiplies results. Every day you repeat a habit, you are depositing into an account called destiny. Some people deposit discipline, some deposit excuses, but everybody deposits something. And one day, whether you like it or not, you will withdraw. The question is, what will be in your account when that day comes? Understand this truth deep in your spirit. Results are not random. They are rehearsed. Victory is not luck. It is trained. Confidence is not gifted. It is practiced. The person you admire didn't suddenly become powerful. They repeated powerful habits until power became their nature. They didn't suddenly become focused. They repeated focused actions until distraction lost its grip. They didn't suddenly become unstoppable. They repeated relentless behavior until stopping felt unnatural. That's how transformation works. Quiet repetition, loud results. So if you want to predict your future, don't look at your calendar of hopes. Look at your schedule of habits. What you do daily is louder than what you say occasionally. Anybody can talk about greatness once in a while, but only the committed live every single day. And when you live it daily, something extraordinary happens. Your habits start working for you even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when you're doubting. Because once discipline becomes identity, effort becomes automatic. There will be days you don't feel like it. Days you feel slow. Days you feel behind. Days you feel like it's not working. But those are the days that matter most. Because anyone can perform when they feel strong. Champions perform when they feel weak. Anyone can stay committed when they feel motivated. When they stay committed, when motivation disappears, that's the difference. That's the edge. That's the reason some people change their lives, while others change their excuses. And one day, if you stay faithful to your habits, the results will show up like they were always on the way, because they were. The success won't surprise your habits. It will confirm them. The achievement won't shock your routine. It will reward it. And people will look at you and say, we're lucky, but you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck. It was repetition. It wasn't chance. It was choice. It wasn't magic. It was method. So start today, not when it's convenient, not when it's comfortable. Today, choose one habit that moves you closer to your purpose and protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Repeat it until it becomes part of you. Repeat it until quitting feels strange. Repeat it until discipline feels natural. And remember, every single step of the way, your habits are deciding your future long before your results appear. I want you to hear me clearly, because this is where most people get it wrong. The journey towards success is not about luck. It's not about timing. It's not about waiting for a perfect opportunity to knock on your door. The truth is, success doesn't wait for anyone. It doesn't pause because you feel unready. It doesn't slow down because you're unsure. Success is relentless, just like the clock ticking right now. And the only way to align yourself with that relentless force is through commitment. Through absolute, unwavering, no excuses commitment to the work, the grind, the habits, and the decisions that build your future. Every choice you make today is a vote for the person you're becoming tomorrow. And every vote counts, whether you realize it or not. Many people talk about wanting success, but they don't understand that success demands everything. It demands your mornings when your body wants sleep. It demands your focus when your mind wants distraction. It demands your courage when your soul wants comfort. You cannot approach it halfway. You cannot dip your toe in the water and hope to swim. You have to dive in. You have to commit to the full effort, the full responsibility, the full discipline, the full sacrifices. Anything less will not suffice. And here's the truth. Most people will never understand this until it's too late. They will continue to hope, to wish, to talk, to dream, while the world passes them by. But not you. You are reading this. You are listening. You are awake. You are ready. The road to greatness is lonely. It is often quiet, often painful, often misunderstood. Friends may doubt you. Family may question you. Society may tell you to settle, to conform, to accept mediocrity. But if you want extraordinary results, you cannot be ordinary in your commitment. You cannot rely on others to validate your effort. You must find your reason to keep going deep within yourself, because the grind does not negotiate. The habits do not compromise. The discipline does not wait for applause. If you are serious about the life you want, you must learn to thrive even when no one is watching, even when no one believes, even when everything inside you is screaming for you to quit. That is where true growth happens. That is where greatness is forged. Excuses will come, doubts will come, fear will come, and you will have to make a choice every single day. Will you give them power, or will you give your power to your vision? Will you let them control your actions, or will you take control of your life? Remember this, Every time you choose action over excuses, every time you choose persistence over quitting, every time you choose growth over comfort, you are building a future that's unstoppable. And every time you choose differently, every time you give into fear, hesitation, or distraction, you are telling yourself that your potential doesn't matter, that your dreams are optional, that your life can wait. The question is, which voice will you follow? The one that shrinks you or the one that grows you? Habits will shape you. They are the silent architects of your destiny. You may not see them working now. You may not feel their power in this exact moment. But every time you show up, every time you repeat the right action, every time you hold yourself accountable, you are building a foundation no one can destroy. And when your results finally appear, the world may call it luck, but you will know the truth. It was the result of relentless consistency. It was the reward for discipline, for focus, for sacrifices no one saw. Your habits have been building your future quietly, patiently, and powerfully long before your name appears in lights. That is the secret that few understand, and the one that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. You must understand that success is not a moment, it is a process. It is not a feeling, it is a commitment. And that commitment requires sacrifice, it requires pain, it requires discomfort, it requires pushing past the point where most people stop. Most people quit because it gets hard. Most people quit because it takes too long. Most people quit because they do not feel like it anymore. But the person who achieves greatness is the person who keeps going anyway. The person who shows up even when motivation is gone. The person who keeps grinding when doubt is loud. Not as loud. That is the person who earns the life they've imagined. That is the person who understands that success demands everything. Let me remind you again. Success is not fair. It will not wait for you to be ready. It will not reward you because you have the right intentions. It will not notice the excuses you've been repeating in your head. Success will respond only to action, to persistence, to discipline, to effort that cannot be shaken, to habits that cannot be broken. If you want to claim the life you dream of, you must stop negotiating with yourself. Stop waiting for permission. Stop hoping for luck. Stop asking for easier circumstances. The only thing that matters is your willingness to do what others will not, to go further than others are willing, to sacrifice more than others dare to. That is the price of greatness, and that price is non-negotiable. You also have to understand that growth is uncomfortable. It is inconvenient. It will challenge every part of you, your mind, your body, your emotions, your will. It will expose your weaknesses and test your limits. And if you're not careful, you'll let that discomfort push you into the arms of excuses. You'll convince yourself that waiting is better than acting, that the timing isn't right, that you're not ready. But here's the truth. You will never feel ready. You will never feel prepared. The path to success is paved with moments where you feel unsure, where you feel afraid, where you feel like giving up. And the only way through those moments is to act anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite fear. Discipline is not about ease. Discipline is about action when action feels impossible. And that is what separates the winners from the wishers. Your future is being written every day in the choices you make. It's being built every day in the habits you repeat. It's being determined every day by whether you step up or step back. And let me be honest, if you keep choosing comfort over effort, if you keep choosing excuses over action, if you keep choosing delay over discipline, your future will reflect that. Your life will reflect that. The results you hope for will never arrive, not because you lack potential, but because your actions have already decided the outcome. But the moment you understand this, the moment you take full ownership of every choice, every habit, every action, you unlock your power. You become unstoppable. You begin to operate on a level most people will never understand, because most people refuse to understand that success is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of relentless, unshakable, consistent action. I want you to imagine your life 1 year from now. Picture it vividly. Are you still complaining about the same problems? Are you still stuck in the same routines? Are you still letting excuses run your life? Or are you standing taller, stronger, more confident? Are you celebrating wins that you earn through relentless effort, through discipline, through habits that refuse to let you settle? That is what your choice determines today. That is why your actions now are more powerful than anything else. Because the future does not wait for feelings, for luck, for comfort. It waits for the people who take responsibility for their lives. It waits for the people who decide to act regardless of circumstances. It waits for the people who understand that success demands everything, and they are willing to pay the price. And here's the final truth I want you to hold on to. Success will never be handed to you. It will never knock politely. It will never send a text saying, you are ready. You have to go out and claim it. You have to fight for it. You have to show up every day, no matter how hard it feels, no matter how long it takes, no matter how tired you are, no matter how many people doubt you. You have to be willing to give everything. Because success only comes to those who are willing to pay the price, who are willing to sacrifice, who are willing to endure, who are willing to persist. And when you do, when you commit fully, when you step into that grind, when you live with relentless purpose, you will look back one day and realize something powerful. Every late night, every early morning, every sacrifice, every repetition, every moment you refused to quit was building the life you now enjoy. Every moment of commitment was writing your story, shaping your legacy, creating your reality. So right now, I'm asking you to make a choice. Stop holding back. Stop negotiating. Stop waiting. Stop excusing. Start acting. Start showing up. Start committing. Start grinding. Start building the habits that will decide your future before anyone else can even see the results. Success demands everything, and you have more inside of you than you think. Every obstacle, every fear, every moment of doubt is a test to see if you are willing to rise. Rise anyway. Keep going anyway. Keep fighting anyway. Keep showing up anyway. Because your future self is depending on you. Dreams are depending on you. Your dreams are depending on, your destiny is depending on you. And the truth is, if you give your all, if you refuse to quit, if you commit relentlessly, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. You have the power. You have the potential. You have the discipline. You have the courage. But it is up to you to activate it. Excuses, fear, hesitation, they are cheap. Action, persistence, sacrifice, they are priceless. Decide right now which currency you will spend. Decide right now who you are going to become. Decide right now that you will not allow anything to stand between you and the life you were meant to live. Because in the end, the choice is yours and your future is waiting. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter how difficult it gets. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. What matters is that you refuse to quit. That's the person who wins. That's the person who succeeds. That is the person who becomes unstoppable. That is the person who understands that success demands everything and they give it everything. Rise, commit, grind, repeat. Your future is being written every second and it's waiting for you to decide what story it will tell. Choose wisely, choose boldly, choose relentlessly. Your destiny depends on it.